You guys ever think about the fact that you can't see my pants in these reviews? That I could be doing these totally pantless? Just food for thought. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2012 Volkswagen GLI. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, and down below is a 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, this of course isn't the first GLI I've reviewed. I actually reviewed my friend Dustin's 2006, so I will be referencing that a lot, and I'd highly recommend checking that video out if you haven't done so already. So let's talk about that turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, that 2.0. Now, I've reviewed a lot of Volkswagens, and actually all of the Volkswagens I've reviewed so far have had that 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4. Now, I know what you're thinking. That might be odd that Volkswagen has used the same 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4 since 2006, but that's not true. This is actually a different engine. Yes, it has the same displacement, but it has been tweaked where the old GLI made 200 horsepower. This GLI makes 200 horsepower. The torque is the same story, where the old GLI made 207 pound-feet of torque, where this made a wonderful 207. This generation of GLI actually weighs about 200 pounds lighter than the 06 generation, which is interesting because this car feels bigger. It feels more equipped, but it has less stuff in it. Now, the clutch is very interesting. The clutch feels super light, and it doesn't really feel like it's connected to anything. There's no like point where it gets stiffer or harder. It doesn't feel actually hydraulic. It doesn't feel like it's connected to the master or slave cylinder, which almost makes me nervous driving it. I'm not really sure where that point comes, where it, kind of stiffens up, and that's, referenced to as the bite point. That being said, this car is a lot of fun to drive. The 6-speed gear shifter isn't anything special, but would definitely benefit from a short throw. And of course, like every other Volkswagen, it's real easy to downshift. That's what I really like about these cars. Now, of course, let's talk about the interior. In front of me, the gauges seem almost unchanged since the 06 GLI, but they look a little bit more modern, a little bit more clear. Where the 06 GLI, the gauges were bluish. These are pure white, with the actual dials being red, which is a nice clean touch. In between the two gauges, you actually get a little readout for your speed in digits rather than on the actual speedometer. Miles, trip, temperature outside, current time, and which direction you're facing. On the steering wheel, I have some quick selection buttons for the middle screen, which I can then switch to read about aux, connect my phone, see why there is a check engine light. On the left of the steering wheel, I have my phone controls, which of course is always a nice feature. In the center, I have a CD player, a AM/FM radio, and a giant screen that displays what you're listening to, which actually isn't touchscreen. I really thought it was, and I started poking it, but it's not actually a touchscreen. Down below that, you have your climate control options, which in typical VW style, you actually select your temperature, but the temperature is hidden when you're not selecting it. So when you're just looking at the knob, you don't see the temperatures, but then you actually twist it, and the temperatures come up. Then, of course, we have the gear shifter, which is very plain, very simple, has this red stitching running down the boot, which is really nice, and it's a really good touch. This car also has a Fender sound system. Yes, Fender, like the people who make the amps and the guitars. It actually says Fender on the speakers, which is a funny little touch. I guess if you are into rock, that'll be a nice touch for you. Now that I just stopped, I actually just finished the review. Spoiler, I filmed these out of order. Watch my arm. See how high I have to pull the handbrake. It's maybe an inch and a half, and it's up. Doesn't seem that satisfying. Alright, so I actually didn't notice this before, but the sunroof, yes, it has a sunroof, obviously. If you click it one turn, it opens that much. Click it another turn, opens a little bit more, open another turn. It just keeps going at these like preset distances. And then, oh, I can adjust it myself too, and then close it. just like that. Last thing about the interior is that it's a 4-door. That's, I feel like, why you would buy this over a GTI. The GTI, obviously, for the most part, being the little 2-door smaller hatchback, although they do sell 4-door variants. Most of them are 2-door. This is a bigger sedan. It's based off the Jetta, although you won't find the word Jetta anywhere in the car or on the car, which is kind of interesting. I had to actually ask my friend if it's still technically a Jetta, even though it doesn't say it anywhere, and of course it is. You'll also notice that the car is lowered. My friend Tyler, who owns the car, has lowered the car, and I think it looks really good. I think Volkswagens look good low. I really do. I think they look more natural when they're lowered. But what truly baffles me about this car is how modern it really looks. I mean, to a blind eye, you would think that this was the brand new Volkswagen. Maybe that's just the headlights, maybe it's the body lines, maybe it's the fact that the brand new Volkswagens haven't changed all that much since 2012. But as of right now, this car is 5 years old. In 2012, I was a little middle schooler with braces.
Do you drive? You don't drive, do you?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Look at me now. Look at me now.
But I think Volkswagen has always kind of been a little bit ahead of the curve. And what I mean by that is I really do think that 4-cylinder turbocharged sedans, passenger cars, cars for people that commute but also have a family, I think they're the future. I think at some point the combustion engine will go away. I really do believe that that's what's probably going to happen. But for now, 4-cylinder turbos get great gas mileage while also offering that top-end power. If you stay real low in the revs, if you're not ripping on it and you're staying out of boost, you're getting great gas mileage. But when you need to pass someone once in a blue moon or once on a road trip, you have that high-end power because of the turbocharger. So I think really it's a good mix, and Volkswagen has been doing that for a while, at least 11 years. I've drove the 2006 GLI, like I've been saying, and they've been doing that for quite some time, and that was a great 4-cylinder turbocharged car. And I'd love to review a diesel, because I've driven 2 different diesels, a Jetta, a Mark V, I want to say, body style Jetta, and a Mark VI TDI Golf, and I loved both of those cars. I mean, the torque from the diesel engines is just, it's so fun. And of course they're turboed as well, so they're not slow in any means. So I think Volkswagen really has it together, and I'm not trying to say this like it's any revelation. I mean, I think it's pretty well known that Volkswagen has their stuff together. This car definitely has the power. I mean, if you're looking for a commuter car, a 4-door car that isn't going to be the slowest thing out there, this is definitely a good option. But going back to it, I really think this car looks great. I think this is a good looking car. I would probably take this over the 06 GLI just based on stock looks, but they really do drive really similarly. Like I said jokingly, I mean, they make the same power, they have the same torque, although this is the TSI engine. Things that I don't like, the throat could be a little bit shorter, but that's just because I like the more sporty feel. This car also has electric power steering, which I'm not the biggest fan of, if I'm honest. I just prefer the road feel a lot better. It's not numb. It's not completely numb. It doesn't feel completely distant like I'm controlling a car halfway around the globe. But you can definitely tell that it's electric. I mean, it's real easy and you don't really get that hydraulic-y feedback. But that aside, besides the electric power steering, the clutch, and the gearbox, which now that I say that, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. I don't hate the gearbox, I don't hate the clutch, I don't hate the steering. It's just, they're not what I personally prefer. I like a little notchy gearbox, I like a really responsive clutch, and I like really responsive steering, even if it is no power steering where I have to weight train for a month before I can turn a car in my own parking lot. I really do like the GLI. I really do. This is a fun little car for commuting. And I think if you play back the 06 GLI review, I'm pretty sure I say the same thing. This thing is fun. This will add pep to whatever commute you make. If you buy one of these cars, you'll be satisfied. Will you absolutely fall in love? I don't know. Is it a modifier's heaven? Not quite, but it serves a purpose, and it does it dang well. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something about the 2012 Volkswagen GLI. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.
There goes a sight from my soul.